Local government teams shouldn't have to waste time on manual data entry into outdated systems. With Symphony 3 Smart Glue, you don't have to. You can automate repetitive tasks, eliminate double handling, and connect legacy systems with ease. Smart Glue helps councils streamline operations, reduce errors, and deliver better services without replacing your existing systems. It's time to build smarter, more connected local governments. Learn more at www.symphony3.com. Symphony 3, supporters of the Local Government News Roundup. Coming up, claims of underfunding from another Victorian integrity agency. A council's call for stronger powers to act on dangerous dogs. A councillor demanding a public apology from her council. Liverpool's public inquiry gets underway. A New South Wales mayor calls out keyboard warriors. A shock resignation from a Queensland Council CEO. Controversial new council bylaws under attack in South Australia. And a Local Government Member Association CEO is moving on. Hello, I'm Chris Eddy. It's the Wednesday edition of the Local Government News Roundup. Welcome along. The podcast is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences. Heading today's Victorian report, The Australian has revealed claims of underfunding at another of Victoria's integrity agencies. The Victorian Ombudsman says it's been forced to cancel and scale back important projects due to budget constraints. Documents obtained by The Australian reveal the state government rejected a $1.4 million funding request last November that would have bolstered the agency's legal resources and cyber security systems. The Ombudsman's spokesperson says their funding is not adequate to do the job entrusted to us by Parliament and the community, and in real terms is going backwards. The government claims it has almost doubled funding for the Ombudsman since 2014. The new claims follow a Herald Sun story earlier this week reporting budget constraints at the local government inspectorate, which have led to a number of positions remaining unfilled. Hume City Council has voted unanimously this week to seek stronger powers to protect residents from dangerous dogs following two vicious attacks in Sunbury last year. The council is calling on the state government to change animal control laws to allow council officers to enter properties where there's a reasonable belief that a dog involved in a serious attack is being kept. Last August, 3 dogs escaped from a Sunbury property, attacking a 35-year-old mother walking her baby and a 71-year-old woman on consecutive days. Both victims suffered serious injuries in the attacks. A council review found that while officers followed proper procedures, their response was limited by current legislation requiring police presence in urgent situations. The council has rejected what it called sensational and misleading claims in the media this week that it is seeking to intrude in residents' private lives or act without cause. It says the claims are incorrect and misrepresent the facts. Greater Dandenong Councillor Rhonda Garrad is demanding a public apology from the council after it issued a statement about her social media posts. That's according to the Dandenong Star Journal. The controversy centres on several retweets made by Councillor Garrad, including one supporting chants against the Israel Defence Forces at a Melbourne protest. The council said it did not endorse Councillor Garrad's retweets, some of which support anti-Semitic language. Councillor Garrad, who recently resigned from the Greens and will continue on the council as an independent, said her posts were critical of Israel's military actions but not anti-Semitic in nature. Illegal dumping is costing the city of Greater Dandenong more than $1.1 million annually, with nearly 800 incidents reported each month. The Star Journal reports that the council's new customer request dashboard has revealed around 1,000 tonnes of illegally dumped waste is being collected yearly. In June alone, almost 700 new dumping reports were filed, adding to an existing backlog. Council officials say the money spent on clean-up could be better used for community services and programs. Areas with high rental turnover, such as Stud Road, have become notorious in the city as dumping hotspots. Warrnambool City Council has unanimously adopted new guidelines aimed at resolving internal conflicts between councillors. The Courier reported that the new procedure was passed at Monday's council meeting and establishes a clear escalation process for addressing disputes among elected officials. Mayor Ben Blaine described the guidelines as critical, acknowledging that disagreements are a natural part of the democratic process. Chief Executive Officer Andrew Mason explained the new procedure is a requirement under the Local Government Act and has been developed with input from all councillors. Greater Geelong Council is seeking operators for a new Salamanca-style market in Little Mallop Street Central. Mayor Stretch Contell said it will be a big win for local designers, makers, musicians and creative entrepreneurs, allowing people to purchase directly from local suppliers. A request for proposal will close on the 25th of July, with the market planned to launch in spring. And Mount Alexander Shire Council has established a food relief network to coordinate food relief efforts across the Shire. The network aims to improve access to food and essential items by bringing together various organisations, including Castlemaine Community House, the Salvation Army and others, to ensure everyone has access to quality food and necessities. More Victorian Council news in brief. A Glen Waverley resident was fined $9,000 for poisoning an 18-metre lemon-scented gum tree protected under the Vegetation Protection Overlay. Monash Mayor Paul Klasaris says the council's action demonstrates its commitment to protecting the city's tree canopy. Yarra City is establishing a memorial called Flower Pavilion in Collingwood Town Hall Park for the LGBTIQA+ community members lost to suicide. The sculptural shelter, designed by local artist Andrew Atchison, features a canopy of vibrant acrylic flowers, symbolising remembrance and providing a contemplative space for friends and family to honour loved ones. And Moorabool Shire Council is waiving roadside grazing permit fees to support local farmers during drought-like conditions. Permit holders must comply with safety requirements, including installing fencing, displaying warning signs and providing public liability insurance while grazing livestock on approved roadside areas. This is the Wednesday edition of the Local Government News Roundup, brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, which has opened registrations for its mayoral leadership program. The program is in its second year, designed to equip mayors and deputy mayors with the knowledge they need to lead their council effectively and with good governance at their foundation. It's mandatory for mayors and deputy mayors to undertake training at the commencement of each mayoral term. Under the new Victorian Government reforms, this training must be completed by the 31st of December. The VLGA's mayoral leadership program this year will be held on Friday the 28th of November at the Monash Conference Centre in Collins Street, Melbourne. A full-day program to cover the roles and responsibilities of a mayor, the mayor-CEO relationship, how to chair a council meeting, managing difficult conversations, dispute resolution and effective communications and media training. Places are filling fast, so register now via the VLGA website, and if you book by the 1st of August, you'll receive an additional 10% off listed prices. Heading our New South Wales report, a public inquiry into Liverpool Council is underway, and it's heard that a troubled relationship between Liverpool Mayor Ned Manoon and Councillor Peter Restevsky is hampering council operations. The Sydney Morning Herald reported that the inquiry was told of a physical confrontation where Councillor Restevsky allegedly goaded the mayor and stood on his foot during a February meeting. The inquiry, which began on Monday, is examining broader issues including councillor conduct, financial management, property purchases and the handling of more than $150 million in state government grants. It will run for several weeks with Mayor Manoon, Councillor Restevsky and former CEO John Ajaka all expected to testify. Blue Mountains Mayor Mark Greenhill has refuted social media criticism about a Woolworths supermarket proposal for Springwood. He told the Blue Mountains Gazette that elected councillors have no role in the development application process, hitting back at keyboard warriors who are blaming the council for blocking the proposal. The Mayor explained that council staff provided input to the state government planning panel about managing traffic congestion. He said amateur Donald Trumps lurk in our midst in a post-truth era with scant regard to reading the written word and conveying facts. Albury Council has voted to apply for a Gold Cup holiday, but with a twist. The council will seek a full-day public holiday for the 2026 and 2027 Gold Cup races, with a half-day holiday as a backup option. The Border Mail reported that former Mayor Kylie King's motion secured a 5-3 majority, overriding current Mayor Kevin Mack's preference for a full-day only application. The decision comes after community feedback showed nearly 70% of residents favour a full-day break. Councillor King expressed concern that an all-or-nothing approach might leave residents without any holiday if the full-day request is rejected. Councillor Mack warned that presenting two options to the New South Wales Government could result in both being rejected. Wingecarribee Shire Council has reaffirmed its opposition to a proposed Moss Vale plastics recycling facility as the proponent files an appeal of a refusal from the Independent Planning Commission. Mayor Jesse Fitzpatrick said the council trusts the integrity of the appeal process and noted community disappointment and frustration in seeing the matter return. He said the council would make submissions to the conciliation process if given the opportunity. And Canterbury Bankstown Mayor Bilal El Hayek is leading a community sleep-out event next month to raise awareness and $30,000 for local homelessness charities. With homelessness rising 10% in the area between 2021 and 2023, the initiative supports Mission Australia, Maronites on Mission and Brothers in Need, while giving participants insight into the challenges faced by the 128,000 Australians experiencing homelessness nightly. Breaking news out of Queensland this morning. Livingstone Shire Council CEO Terry Dodds has announced his resignation after just 9 months in the role. The Townsville Bulletin reports that Mr Dodds announced the news at a council meeting last night, saying it's time to move on. Councillors are said to be shocked by the announcement. Mayor Adam Bellott said the resignation had been received with a heavy heart. Mr Dodds was the council's 9th CEO in 11 years, including interims, and recently introduced a new organisation structure to the council after an extensive 6-month review process. He joined Livingstone from Murray River Council in New South Wales. A Gold Coast anti-Semitism summit scheduled for September and to be chaired by Mayor Tom Tate is offering free travel, accommodation and meals to selected local government representatives from across Australia. The Mandarin has reported on plans for the event, co-sponsored by several Jewish organisations, which appears to be modelled on similar summits in the US, where enticements were offered for attendance. The summit organisers aim to bring together over 200 local government representatives to develop strategies for combating anti-Semitism and other forms of hate in communities. More news in brief. Shellharbour City Council is seeking community assistance to combat illegal dumping after waste was found in local parks and waterways. Mayor Chris Homer said the illegal dumping is causing environmental harm and has encouraged residents to report incidents through the council's customer service team. Glenorchy City Council in Tasmania has approved a $28 million sports centre at Claremont Link Road, featuring 4 indoor courts for multiple sports, including netball, basketball, futsal, volleyball and wheelchair sports. Pulse Tasmania reported the facility will include a show court with seating for up to 600 spectators. And South Australian councils will now receive additional funding for each flu vaccine administered to children aged 6 months to 5 years under a new South Australia Health Funding Program. The funding comes as South Australia experiences a 70% increase in flu cases compared to last year. LGA SA welcomed the new funding stream, as some councils have reported the net cost for running public immunisation clinics is as much as $40,000 a year. Back down to Tasmania, and in Glenorchy, police and local council officials have reported a significant drop in crime rates over the past year. Tasmania police data shows total offences in the Glenorchy division have fallen by 16%, with youth offences falling by 21%. Inspector Jason Klug credits the introduction of Task Force Respect in mid-May for much of the improvement, noting calls for police assistance in the CBD have dropped by around 40% since the task force began operations. Glenorchy City Council Mayor Sue Hickey has praised the police efforts and highlighted council initiatives, including youth engagement programs and school holiday activities designed to provide positive outlets for young people in the community. Break-a-Day Council Mayor Mick Tucker has been re-elected as President of the Local Government Association of Tasmania. His second term will commence after the LGAT annual general meeting on July 25. Mayor Tucker has reiterated his commitment to working collaboratively with all 29 Tasmanian councils during a challenging period of proposed reforms and rising costs. And Clarence City Council has reversed a ban on dogs on the Tangara Trail at Racecourse Flats following community backlash. Pulse Tasmania reported that councillors have voted to replace no dogs signs with dogs on leash on track only signs. The 3.36 metre wide walking track has been a popular spot for dog walkers for many years. In South Australia, Adelaide Hills Council is considering new bylaws requiring residents to seek approval before keeping bees, roosters, pigeons and livestock in residential properties within 24 townships, according to a report from The Messenger. The proposal has faced criticism from bee enthusiasts who argue beekeeping benefits the environment and community. The council says the changes are in response to community complaints about bees entering neighbouring properties and rooster noise. And at Mount Gambier, the council was set to vote last night on a controversial new cat management bylaw that would limit households to just 2 cats, according to a Newswire report. The proposed regulations would only apply to cats born after the bylaw's adoption and would also introduce a nuisance offence for owners whose cats disturb neighbours' peace and comfort. The council is responding to complaints from residents about wandering cats using gardens as toilets, with some locals calling the measure way overdue. And checking in on news out of Western Australia, the City of Nedlands has now postponed agenda forum and ordinary council meetings until further notice, as it awaits advice from the government on an expected intervention. The council lost its quorum with the resignation of 4 councillors on one day last week, and the local government minister has foreshadowed the appointment of 3 commissioners, at which time all council positions will be vacated. LG Professionals WA CEO Qd Chu has resigned after 8 years in the role. She'll take on the CEO position at Leadership WA in September. On behalf of the board, President Anthony Valletta paid tribute to her achievements during her time with the organisation and wished her well in the new role. He said a recruitment process to appoint a new CEO will commence soon. The City of Swan has ended its 39-year membership with the Eastern Metropolitan Regional Council. The council says it intends to pursue more sustainable waste management through a waste-to-energy plant in East Rockingham. The strategic move allows the city to reclaim its equity investment for community infrastructure projects while continuing to work with the EMRC as a commercial customer where interests align. And the Local Government Association of the Northern Territory has launched a campaign encouraging diverse candidates to nominate for upcoming local government elections. The campaign aims to bust myths about who can become a councillor and particularly targets younger residents and women as the NT falls behind other states in female representation. Nominations opened on July 11 and will close on July 31st. Let's head overseas for some stories of interest. Out of the UK, firstly, BBC News reports that Tower Hamlets Council is facing possible further government intervention as Local Government Minister Jim McMahon warns he may send in commissioners with decision-making powers if improvements aren't made. The East London Council has been under government oversight since January, with a team of envoys monitoring progress. Their first report was published last week and highlighted ongoing concerns about councillor behaviour, described as going beyond usual political theatre. The inspection was triggered by findings that decision-making was being dominated by an inner circle around Mayor Lutfur Rahman, who returned to office in 2022 after previously being banned from public office for electoral fraud. While the report praised passionate council staff and noted no significant financial concerns, the minister remains worried about what he calls a lack of wholesale political and staff buy-in to improvement efforts. The council acknowledges there's more to do as it works to address the governance concerns. Reform UK's controversial Doge unit, modelled after Elon Musk's US efficiency drive, is facing significant resistance from local councils as it attempts to access sensitive data. The Financial Times has reported that several reform-controlled councils in England have blocked unelected volunteers from accessing personal and commercially sensitive information. Kent County Council has even hired external legal counsel to challenge the data requests. A senior reform figure has confirmed that no data sharing agreements have been signed with any of the 10 councils where the party gained control in May's local elections, citing concerns over GDPR compliance and handling of confidential information. In Japan, the mayor of Ito in Shizuoka Prefecture has announced her resignation over falsified academic credentials, according to a report from the Japan Times. But Maki Takubo says she intends to seek re-election after submitting her academic documents to prosecutors for review. The City Assembly unanimously called for her resignation and established a special committee to investigate the scandal involving her claims about graduating from Toyo University, which has confirmed that she was actually expelled. In Canada, CBC News is reporting that the Sunbury York South Rural Community Council in New Brunswick is at a standstill following a series of resignations and sanctions that have left it unable to function. The trouble began when Mayor David Hayward was suspended for 90 days after the council found he violated a code of conduct by signing a lease agreement without proper approval. Since then, 2 councillors have resigned, leaving the council without the minimum number of members needed to legally operate. At their July 10 meeting, which lasted just 1 minute, officials announced all council business will be paused until September 16, when the mayor returns from suspension. It's the second wave of resignations for the newly formed municipality this year, with 2 other councillors having stepped down earlier, citing concerns about transparency and the rushed amalgamation process. And finally, let's check some local government news out of New Zealand. Wellington City Council is in turmoil following revelations about Councillor Ray Chung's inappropriate email concerning Mayor Tory Whanau. I told you about this on our last episode. The New Zealand Herald revealed last week that Chung, who is currently running for mayor, sent an explicit email in 2023 to fellow councillors sharing unsubstantiated rumours about Whanau that included lewd physical descriptions and claims about her personal behaviour. Whanau has categorically denied the claims. The fallout has been swift. The council's Crown Observer, Lindsay McKenzie, has raised concerns with the local government minister, while Council CEO Matt Prosser is investigating potential code of conduct breaches, and Prime Minister Christopher Luxon has condemned the email as unacceptable and vile. Perhaps most damaging to Chung's mayoral campaign, a wealthy supporter has publicly withdrawn his backing. Chung has since apologised to Whanau but maintains it's a blatant political attack against him. He's expressed regret for writing the email and for sharing it with people he thought he could trust. And Auckland Council is calling for an overhaul of national dog control laws, seeking stronger powers to tackle the growing issue of roaming and uncontrolled dogs in the region. At a council meeting this week, officials revealed alarming statistics: nearly 17,000 reports of roaming dogs and almost 3,000 dog attacks on people and animals in the last year alone. Robert Irvine, General Manager of Licensing and Compliance, says the council is seeking legislative changes that would include mandatory fencing requirements, stronger powers to detain dangerous dogs, and allowing councils to set their own desexing policies. The council has already invested nearly $6 million in additional funding for animal management and created 54 new positions to address the issue. We've come full circle in a way there, ending with Auckland and starting with Hume, both councils seeking more powers to deal with the issue of dangerous dogs. You've been listening to the Local Government News Roundup, episode number 477, recorded on Wednesday the 16th of July 2025. If you have comments or feedback or story suggestions, you can send an email to lgweeklynews@gmail.com or press the send a text button in your podcast player. The podcast is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences. The Roundup is recorded in the city of Greater Geelong, Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Qld Nation. We come your way every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. I'll be back with our end of the week edition. Until then, thanks for listening and bye for now. The next VLGA LGIU Global Executive Live panel is on Tuesday the 22nd of July, exploring the topic of building the local economy. It will be held online from 5:30pm to 7pm, with panellists including Dr. Angela Jackson from the Australian Productivity Commission, David Marlowe, Chief Executive of Third Life Economics, and Merrin Tinkler, Manager Economy and Culture at Mount Alexander Shire Council. They'll explore the role of local government in economic growth, ways to ensure local economic planning remains resilient to economic changes, and what the shared challenges and opportunities are for local economic performance. Global panels are free for VLGA members and alumni and $60 for non-members. Visit the VLGA website to register now.